As you know, on these podcasts, when I don't have a podcast, I'm not interviewing somebody, I'm telling you guys some stories. And there's one story that just keeps coming to my mind, and this was a while ago. It was back in the 80s. Sorry for some of you that weren't born back then. Doesn't matter, it's still a good story. It could have ended up being a bad story, but it happened near Roseburg, Oregon, as we were going up to Diamond Lake, which is along the North Umpqua Highway from Roseburg to Diamond Lake, which Diamond Lake is really close to Crater Lake if you ever want to go up there and see both of those. Well, we were meeting some friends up there, and of course we were all high school students, and you know what happens when high school students go up to a cabin at the lake? It was actually over the 4th of July. So a couple of us, we start a little bit late, and we were football players. One of my buddies was a linebacker and I was a running back and defensive end. So we started late. We're like, yeah, we'll meet you up there. So it was dark when we were going up this highway, and this highway is windy, and I'm telling, not just windy, probably 25, 30 miles an hour windy. It's along the North Umpqua Highway, and I'm going to show you some photos here because it's a beautiful drive, but it can be dangerous. Well, I had driven that a lot before because we lived there and we went up to Diamond Lake all the time. And we also went camping up there. So it was a very familiar highway, but I couldn't drive it blindly. I had to look. But because it was at night, we had an advantage, and that was because we could see the headlights coming at us. Particularly, we could see the headlights coming before we could see the car or truck. And there are log trucks up there, so, you know, it may not be a little car, it might be a big Mack truck. Well, we were trying to get up there quickly, and it could have been because there was some young ladies up there. I don't know. I'm not going to admit to that. So I'm driving and we're trying to save time, but because I can see the headlights approaching around the curves before we saw the car, I'm cutting into the other lane going around curves. And I know this is stupid, so don't do this if you're watching me, especially if you're young and stupid like I was. I'm not going to say he was young and stupid because he wasn't driving. I definitely was young and stupid. So we are just making great time. We're flying 50, 60 miles an hour because when you can cut those curves, it's not a 35 or a 30 mile an hour curve anymore. It's maybe 45, 50. And if you're young and stupid, it might be 65 miles an hour. I don't know if we were going that fast, but man, we were cutting in and out. And there was a few times I saw headlights, and so we had to slow down and move over. But man, I was cutting in and out, wrong lane the whole time. And man, we were all just wired. When we got there, our blood pressure was probably through the roof, and we get out of the car and we met our friends up there. And the first thing they said was, "You guys are as white as sheets," or maybe it's as white as ghosts. And I just started laughing, and I don't remember if we told them, but that anxiety and that the blood pressure being high and whatever else may have been going on in our bodies, I mean, I was worn out, and I'm sure he was worn out too, and probably we were lucky to be alive. But I didn't think it would show on our faces as it did, because I think all the blood went to our internal organs to help keep us alive. You know how when you're in shock? Again, I don't recommend this for anybody because that was really stupid. But something else happened at the lake up there, and I'll tell you two of them. There's a third thing I won't tell you about, but I'll tell you two of them. It was 4th of July. We had fireworks, and we had these fireworks that you hold, or you're not supposed to hold in your hand. You're supposed to point them, put them in the ground, and light them and run away, and they go up in the air. As young and stupid people are sometimes, we decide to have a firecracker fight. So we light these things, hold them in our hands, and we start shooting them at each other, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 feet away. And it wasn't dangerous because when they shot them at me, I could see it coming and I could duck and it would go right by. I don't know. How do we live past that weekend? I'm not sure. Wow, how any of us make it to any older age, I just don't get it. Well, anyway, so that stopped. We didn't even have goggles, masks, nothing on. I mean, if it would have hit us in the throat or the eye, it would have been a nightmare and it'd have been horrible. And I probably would have gotten sued. Surely it wasn't my idea. Well, the next thing that happened was, because it was the 4th of July, is at Diamond Lake, and I don't know if they do this anymore, but we had a boat, and we took the boat out in the middle of the lake. And it was a rowboat, but that lake's not huge, but we went out in the middle of the lake, and I think there was 3 of us out there, and we laid down in the boat, and we watched the fireworks being shot over us. That was absolutely spectacular, and I loved it. Now, I don't know if the fireworks were directly over us because nothing ever came down on us, but we were generally in the area where they were shooting up over us. So that's a good ending to the story. And I don't think anybody that was there has died. So I think we all lived through it. I know we lived through it till the end of high school. But sometimes it's fun to be young and stupid, but hopefully nobody's that young and stupid. Someday I know some people are going to watch these videos and go, "What did you do? I can't believe you did that. You're an idiot." And I'm like, well, yes, I might still be an idiot. All right. Thanks for joining me. It's another story I just wanted to tell you guys about, and I live to see another day. Check out all the other podcasts we have, and I've got several with different interviews now, so it's going to be a true podcast, but every once in a while I'll throw in a story. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you back in the next podcast.